Good, good. It auto spawns enemies. Look at the way the actual environment items are shaking. Because we said arcade style. This is good. Look at the drift and smoke effects. Okay, that's sick. It made spinning wheels. So OpenAI has released the long-awaited GPT-5.5, and if the hype from Twitter on X is anything to go on over the past couple of months, this model better blow my pants off. Again, it's blow my socks off. But regardless, today's video, we're going to be taking a look at this model and we'll see how it is. So we're going to begin just by scrolling through some of the introductory posts, but there's plenty of channels who will just read this back to you. For today's video, I'm more interested in actually testing things with this model, and because this has been so pretty heavily hyped, I am really interested in kind of pushing it beyond some of our normal tests to see if it stacks up to how much it has been hypothesized to. So to begin, do feel free to subscribe because I want that 100K plaque. So with that, let's just take a peek at some of the interesting things of note in this announcement post, but in fitting with most announcement posts from all Frontier labs, or really any labs, a lot of benchmarks are here, and then just talking about how well the model performs. Something I do like to see is that, of course, this is benchmarked against the competition in the form of Opus 4.7 and Gemini 3.1 Pro, but more interestingly, at least to myself personally, it is also benchmarked against GPT-5.4 and even 5.5 Pro and 5.4 Pro. Now, 5.5 Pro I will, of course, be testing, but that will be in a separate video, as that does take quite a while to actually produce results comparatively to the non-pro model. And here we see an interesting benchmark where essentially it shows the capability of the model, but in conjunction with that, it shows how much like it actually needed to perform at that level of capability. So we can see right here that this GPT-5.5 model on medium is hypothetically outperforming Opus 4.7 on max effort, perhaps just by a small bit, 56.7, 57.3. Okay, so it wasn't. I was confused by this chart, but the whole point of this is to show that this is basically close to on par with this at a significantly reduced amount of output tokens. I mean, significantly in that regard, 111 million versus 22 million. So that's always good because it's more intelligence efficiency, therefore it's cheaper and better for like the environment and things that are important. So they do also talk about agentic coding, which is of course all of the rage at this time. However, something I'm very pleased to see is one of these prominently listed demonstrations of this model's capability is a 3D game, because sometimes I do get some flack in the comments for like, why do you test games? That's stupid. Well, they don't seem to think so, so neither do I. No, I mean, this is pretty cool. But then there was something else here. It was like, oh, if you click on this dungeon game, I mean, this isn't a one-shot result that we would get like from a 3D game, but this is exciting. I am still seeing some of the elements of the GPT-5X front-end design choices where it's just basically like dark bluish purple, so we'll have to see how the front end has either evolved or not. Then finally, they talk about like some more pertinent information like scientific research. They talk about cybersecurity and things of the sort. Of course, with the Mythos model being talked about, that is definitely something that is prominently in the mind share of folks interested in AI. So they talk about that as well. And then finally, they mention pricing. So this is apparently more expensive than the previous version, 5.4. So this is $5 per million input tokens and $30 per million output tokens. And then the Pro model, which will be a separate video, is significantly more expensive than that, but its capabilities do quite stack up. So then we have some more specific evals and things of the sort. But really the next thing to do is actually go ahead and begin to test this. Now, because I've been playing roulette with like 4 or 5 different computers in the ChatGPT web app, and the model has not showed up in any of them, it has showed up in Codex. So I have put it on GPT-5.5 on extra high reasoning intelligence mode, and I've also enabled fast speed, so it will perform its actions quicker. And of course, we're going to start with the tried and true browser OS test version 2.5, where it is the traditional browser OS, where it needs to create a browser OS for the 4th time with 5 specific applications. 2 of the 5 apps must be functional 3D games. 1 of them must be a 3D GTA clone, and then the rest of it is more simple, like ability to change wallpaper. Now, again, this is a little different than running it just from directly in the web chat interface, but because this is where it happened to show up, we'll just use it this way. And this is more in line with the agentic capabilities that are touted, so keep that in mind as well. All right, it's trying more agentic things, but for all intents and purposes, it is complete as we would see in the specific, like if we were testing this just through ChatGPT on the web. So let's take a look at our Atlas OS browser edition. First and foremost, it's clean, I guess could be said. Is there a right click? There's no right click. Okay, but I know folks are going to say, well, Bijan, it's not specifically listed in the prompt, so it followed instructions. I do understand that. It's just something I like to check to see if it goes and infers intent or not, which it didn't, but that's okay. We do have a time and date in the bottom right, which is correct time and date in my locale. We also have a start menu with somewhat of like a Windows looking square, but everything here, again, it's very sterile. It has like a very medical sterile feel to it. I don't quite know what to make of that. It's not a bad thing. It's just, it has its own style. And now we're going to run through the app sequentially, which of course everyone, myself included, is most interested in seeing what this GTA clone does. All right, so here's the GTA clone. All right, we start out in the vehicle. There's also traffic driving around, which is, there's mesh colliders. Okay, now for some reason I'm wanted and I'm being hit by the traffic. This is good. Was that a police car that came up behind us? I feel like it was. Yep, I think. No, I don't know. All right. It's, it's acceptable. But again, this model's been hyped up to such a high degree that I'm going to be harsher on this than I normally would be, were I in like an innocent local model. All right. Can we get out of the car? I don't think we can. Okay, so that's a little frustrating that we can't get out of the car, but overall it did this competently. There are mesh colliders on all of the elements that would need mesh colliders. Can we full screen it? Okay, we can. That's actually pretty nice. I do like that. And then can we minimize it to the taskbar and then reopen it? We can. All right. Let's just keep going through these. We have a Notes app. Welcome to Atlas OS. This persists in local storage. We can clear it. Can we save it? Will it save it as a text file as well? No, it just saves it in local storage. Okay, that's fine. I will minimize that to the taskbar as well. We have a file browser, and it's actually showing our best Metro Drive score. Okay, that's interesting. We also have a compact system library for the app, save data and information. We can resize, which is nice. That was very useful, especially right here. Okay, I'm not 100% sure what's going on here. Okay, so these are just other apps that can be opened from within our file browser here. I'm going to perhaps close out of that so we can look at those independently. Inevitably, time capsule will be a specific special feature, so we'll look at that last. Okay, this is good. Well, WASD or arrows to fly. Okay, I'm not all right. A little funky in terms of the camera movement, but again, not bad. Next up, we have paint. Okay, I like what I'm seeing so far. This is a nicely done UI. The color palette picker is aesthetically pleasing to myself. So, not bad. We can clear it. We can't save it, which is something I do see sometimes, but regardless, that was okay. I'm going to refresh this because Codex did something, but it didn't seem to make a difference to anything here, so that's quite all right. Next up, we can see we can change the accent. Oh, that's a nice feature. I will say this takes effect on a large portion of visual elements on this page. We can see it reflected down here in the bottom left in the start menu, around the windows here as well, and then I do like that. The accent change is not bad. Next up, okay, Dawn Relay, Signal Meadow, Ember Lab. Interesting names for these backgrounds. Reset accent. Okay. And then finally, we had Time Capsule. Turns the whole browser OS into a portable snapshot. Wallpaper, accent, color, notes, save paintings, game high scores, and save capsules can be packed into one restore token. It's special because, okay, that is a capsule. Oh, wow. Okay, so this is inevitably doing something that is currently beyond my level of ability to parse what specifically this is. Okay, no, that's actually really cool. I understand. So it makes a token to actually save and restore the session just based off of this string. That's actually kind of impressive. So let's just refresh this. We'll go back into Time Capsule. We'll paste our token here to restore it. Restore token. And it did, I think it just it looked the exact same as when we saved it because we were from this screen. That's actually an impressive feature, I'm going to say. Though overall, I do have to say, there's nothing here that really stands out to me that would stack up to the level of hype that I'd seen with this model. To be completely honest, I'm not going to glaze this because it is state of the art, it is expensive, and it was very, very hyped up. So I'm going to judge it a little in that scope. So ChatGPT in the web app has now just updated to show 5.5 as well, which we saw in Codex first, so that's nice to see. I am going to actually run things in parallel here. So from within Codex, we're going to initiate the self-contained 3D C++ skateboarding game, which needs to have the retro late 90s California boardwalk aesthetic. This will be an interesting test because this is one that really separates models based on their capabilities in terms of how well they can actually pull this off. In the meantime, because this is also reflected to be updated in the web, I feel that perhaps we can put it, should I put it on heavy thinking or extended thinking? Heavy is just seeing it full out in its capability, so I suppose that would make sense. But again, I'm going to be honest with you in that I'm really going to push this model. This is going to be a little different than our traditional testing. So with that, let's run our next prompt. So I really meant it when I said I'm going to test this thing hardcore. The next test that we're going to be running here from just the web ChatGPT interface is I need you to create a simple Hello World exe program that will run on a Windows XP laptop. The generated program will be burned to a CD-ROM and placed in the laptop to be tested. When opened, the program should say hello from GPT-5.5. I have absolutely no idea how this is going to go about doing this. I personally would not be able to accomplish this task without specific help from an AI, so it'll be interesting to see what we get. I would imagine this will probably take a little bit of time, but I'm okay with that. And simultaneously as we do this, from within Codex, I am also running the self-contained C++ skateboarding test, being that these have both appeared now as 5.5, so I figure why not run more tests in the same time slice, if you will. All right, so this took 2 minutes. It is possible I massively overestimated the level of complexity for this, but to be fair, I'm not old enough to have understood really what it took to make an XP program. So with that, we will now figure out how to burn this to a CD and then check if it works on an actual Windows XP laptop. Welcome to the lair. So we have the exe burned on the CD, and we have a vintage Windows XP Dell next to a vintage NextStation, which we're not going to use because I didn't realize you need the keyboard to turn those on. So let's pop this in and see if it actually did what it said it did. Okay, it actually worked. So this actually did work. I clicked it here, I ran it as administrator, and what we see on the screen right here is a little window that popped up that says hello from GPT 5.5. So it did actually make a little exe file that was done in the disk and said this, which is, I guess, easier than I'd expected it to be. So back to the drawing board. I don't know how to spell that. Like when people say, let's up the ante, like I've heard it, I've never spelled it, so it'll understand. So now I am negging the model, which is a term often used in like the dating world when you say something negative to someone to kind of like get in their head. But like, oh, I bet you can't do that. All right, so it did say bet, built it, download it, and then go ahead. So I have put in a new CD into the disk drive, and we'll basically do the same thing now and see how it did with its Windows XP GTA clone. All right, we have Tiny XP Car Chase. I will just run this as administrator. And, oh, it encountered a problem and had to close. Okay, so still, I mean, the fact that this actually, let me transfer it to the actual system. I think this thing does have an SSD in it. The fact that it actually opened and had some form of like map is really quite impressive. Okay, so unfortunately, it didn't fully work, but we can see here that there was actually some level of attempt and still impressive. So as we saw, it did partially work, but Windows encountered a problem and the program had to close. Regardless, the fact that it did this so quickly, at least I was impressed by it. It is possible that I overestimated the difficulty, but I wanted to do something completely different to any test I've done before, so hopefully this was enjoyable. Now in the meantime, our C++ skateboard game had actually been compiled in about 4 minutes. Okay, now this is interesting. You know what I just realized is I completely sent it the wrong prompt. This is not the California Boardwalk one. This is just the regular 3D skate park one. Okay, regardless, that gives us a chance to iterate. Q and E is to spin. This is actually good in terms of the board movements. Let's see if I can actually get on the rail there. Something I'll say that I don't often see. Okay, this is kind of sick. That was kind of sick. I like the actual like movement effects and stuff here. are very good. And what I was going to say is I don't often see actually fully formed features of the skate parks and things here, so this is actually pretty cool. Now the thing is, I had totally forgotten to actually send it the prompt for the California boardwalk style, so we'll send that now as a follow-up just to have it reskin the existing result, which should be fun. So I'll say sick, now change the environment, and then I have the late 90s California boardwalk style. So while that works on that, because we can use this at the same time in the web. Oh yes, that's a much better setting for this little toy. What's that supposed to mean? Again, I'm getting this crap. This is so frustrating. This happens consistently when I'm testing this thing. This is actually on my main computer where it's saying I've reached my message limit. I have not. I have the pro subscription. It's just so frustrating to see this. Hopefully Codex is still not like janking out at least. Let me check my usage right here in the Codex app, because this is a bug that some folks have reported having as well. And it's just really quite annoying. So we can see right here, my rate limits remaining are 97% in 5 hours. So it's just agitating to see such. This issue has persisted for a while, so excuse me for being a little frustrated, I guess I should say. Regardless though, we do have our Codex California Boardwalk skate park game result. Okay, look at the walking animation and the NPC. That is really a well done one. Rad Thread Skate Shop. So there's actually some text in these storefronts that is kind of related to this California boardwalk. This is nice. It's well done, although I have to say I'm wondering if this is better than the Opus 4.7 result I received for this test, because that result was incredibly good. So they both are different enough that it would be hard to judge them, because a lot of that would be based on just aesthetics and not necessarily functionality. Something I will say is the animations for people here, as well as the actual skate animations, are really kind of good. I mean, the pivoting and things like that, the movement of the board, the actual NPCs walking, it's all impressive. So it's harder to judge just when going fully on aesthetics, because there's a lot of functional and gameplay improvements that I notice here. So yeah, I mean, the board effects look good. This is actually one of the few ones that really has visible defined trucks on the bottom of the board. The trucks are the things that mount to the board that hold the wheels, for those of you who are not pro skaters like I am. And then we have Venice Beach. Yeah, I mean, this is just like, I like this. I find this to be satisfactory. Nice little palm tree. Cool. So next up, from within Codex, we are going to be giving it the Seinfeld's apartment test, where it needs to create an accurate 3JS model of Jerry's apartment from Seinfeld. This is something I was trying online before the message limit bug appeared, so we'll just use it through Codex here. Now, I'm not giving it any reference image for this, and I will say the best result to date I've received for this was from, I believe, GPT-5.5 Pro. However, no model I've ever run this with has properly captured the floor plan and the actual location of individual elements in the apartment. All right, let's just see what it's done, as it does seem like it may have. Okay. Oh wow. Oh wow. Oh. It has tooltips on. Okay, I'm speechless because this is insanely good. The bike is good. That says bath. Okay, that should be the front door, bathroom, alcove. The kitchen is more similar to what would be seen on the show than I've seen. Look at the detail here. The cereal boxes. This is a darn good scene, I will say, for lack of a better word. The couch, the vintage Mac in the corner where it more or less is. There's a window. We have a bookshelf. It's hard to navigate around this kind of, you have to like, oh, I did tell it WASD movement. Look at that. Computer alcove, Memphis Chicks. Okay, I love these tooltips. I didn't even ask it for this. This made like a guided tour, which is really kind of impressive. The Kramer portrait, the lamps, camera side reference wall. Look at the individual items sitting on the table here. That's nice. I have seen like labeled newspapers and things before. So blue couch and chair. The bike. Do we have a tooltip for the Klein bike? Jerry's wall-mounted bike is represented in bright green besides the back hallway. Does it have its name there? Green bicycle. Okay. Vintage Porsche poster. This is just like exciting me to try to do an FPS test with this map. No, because that doesn't make sense. You know what? It doesn't matter. It doesn't need to make sense. That's the whole thing about AI, so we can have fun like this. And it even has like a mini map, which is just crazy. So it was doing some additional fixing, and I basically told it, it's great, don't worry. Now turn this into a low poly beat 'em up game with fun arcade effects and animations. It'll be interesting just to see what it does with this. Just because I really like this map, so I think it'll be fun to see what it does. Absolutely, I'll keep the apartment as the arena, but shift the experience from walking through to arcade brawler, third-person camera, low-poly player enemies, punch-kick combos, hit sparks, floating score, and a bunch of other things. And animated props reacting to the fight? Alright. Alright, so it has apparently built this beat-em-up game. I wanted to open it in a real browser. Okay, this looks really good, and it spoiled it, but you know what? This is, how do we put the slap on people? Okay, just like that. Oh, I swear. Good. It auto spawns enemies. Look at the way the actual environment items are shaking. Because we said arcade style. This is good. This is really, okay, we can walk through the couch, which is kind of, I said arcade style, so I'll give it that. Where's our health? Okay, so we're playing as Jerry. Oh no, we got knocked out. This was quite something. Now, I would like to play it in a real browser and not whatever that is. Okay, so it said it has mobile controls. So, oh yeah, we still have this rate limit bug. I'm so mad about that. I can't even describe it. I love the environment shake. It did a great job with the camera. Now, again, the mobile controls, it does have touchscreen mobile controls. And it has kick and punch. Oh my. What was that? Why did... Sorry, I'm like, you know, I'm a little distracted. This was gold. No charge. Oh, so that's our charge bar. All right, so we got to slap some folks. Watch this. Bam! And it has mobile controls. What key is the okay, so that's really quite good. We have a bunch of screenshots as well from when it was debugging this. That's gold. So because this game was just so darn good, I am going to be putting this, of course, on my Ultimate Play website where you can upload and play and upvote your own AI-generated games. Now, the cool thing about this result is it actually has mobile controls, and this site does have a selection for games that do include mobile controls, so if you want to play it on a phone or something, you can. And I didn't even ask it to do that, so by the time this video is live, you will be able to go and play this just on ultimateplay.com, which is my website. And it's not monetized or anything. I'm not trying to sell you anything. I just kind of like this. It was built with codecs. So this will be a difficult test. I'm giving it this sprite sheet of a bunch of vehicles that I generated with GPT Image 2, and I'm going to say use this to make a pseudo 3D low poly drift game. All right, so we just got our first look at it as I was like going to find the specific URL. So far, that's impressive. All right. Oh. And we actually have the other vehicles. Now, can we hit them? Yeah, well, you can. Okay, so I have some feedback. It should have been able to use the different sprite views to animate different, essentially, effects. However, that is pretty good. Now, the big issue is the sound is not stopping. So I've given it a follow-up prompt that is going to significantly increase the level of difficulty. I told it looks like one of those 80s kids toys where basically it's like a mechanical driving simulator that's not at all like animated. I'll probably put a picture on screen. And then I said make it 3D and use the textures and wrap them around the 3D models for the cars to emulate some level of detail, and then make it look like a Tokyo City Driver map style. So we'll see what it does. I don't know if it's finished it yet. I'm laughing because it's like inverted, but still. Look at the drift and smoke effects. Okay, that's sick. It made spinning wheels. I think it inverted the angle, and it had a little trouble fully wrapping these sprite textures over this vehicle model, but still, I mean, it does have like a kind of Tokyo style map. I think the map maybe should have been a little better, but I have to be honest with you, I prematurely ran this, so it's actually still working here. Exposed to real issues. The model's driving backwards and the chase camera got too close. Good. So we can see that it's picked up on some of these issues as well. And I just was like, I got too excited and I wanted to see, but the fact that it actually added the spinning wheel effects, the smoke effects for the spinning of the tires and stuff, I mean, the night map still feels too empty in the first camera view. I'm adding closer neon buildings and roadside billboards. So basically everything I picked out here, it has understood in its first test pass to find issues itself. It 100% captured every single critique I had there, which is good. All right, so here's the fully properly fixed version. Okay, well, unfortunately, oh, this is so cool. It has, if the car was just flipped, this would be awesome. I don't see any opponents either, which is a little frustrating, and I'll be honest with you, this map is kind of jank, but because I want to run more tests rather than just make one really sick one, I think I'm going to leave this, but this just shows, like, it actually did wrap the textures onto the model. It has spinning tire effects, the drift effects and smoke are very cool, and this could really be iterated into something quite decent if given the chance. So that was good to see. Oh, how much time till my rate limit's gone? So the stupid rate limit bug expired. It'll probably come back sooner than later, and I've given it this photo saying this is the cover for an upcoming book titled Secrets Hidden. Create a high-end website for the book launch with the cover placed on a book, like in the website, realistic paper animation of the prelude section and chapter list that the visitor can interact with, samples of text narrated in voice by the author, interactive experiences to get users excited, etc. This must be the single most impressive front-end result you have ever made, and we'll see what it does. All right, so we have our book website result, and I'm very eager to see this, so let's take a peek. Some families keep the photo albums. This one keeps evidence. Secrets hidden. Okay, move your cursor to tilt the book. I am moving my cursor, and the book is not tilting. Okay, it did put it on a book cover. All right, let's see. Hear the author read. This might be loud.
The house had a way of making silence feel occupied. It leaned into every room.
Good. It did implement this.
In the photograph, they are sitting close enough.
Okay, chapter 4. All right, I want to see if there's the paper, make visitors investigate the cover. The launch page turns the cover itself into an invitation. Hover, click, uncover, and earn a prize reveal. Be there before the secret gets out. Okay, I do like this specific section right here, but I have to say, I'm not seeing any, like, movement of the paper animation that I was hoping to get. Overall, I gotta be honest with you. I mean, it's good, don't get me wrong. Oh, okay, hold on a second. Turn the paper, touch the paper, turn the story. No, that's a cop-out. I want a real paper animation look, but I'm worried I'll hit my rate limits again, so I don't really want to follow it up, because to be honest with you, I wasn't pleased with that website result anyway. That was just on extended, because maybe heavy, like, causes the rate limit glitch more, so I'd rather run something else here than try to fix that one, which I did not like very much to begin with. So I put it back on heavy, and again, this is ChatGPT in the web, and we're going to try the 3D printer simulation test, as I know folks will be interested in seeing this, as I am myself. Now I'm going to swap back to Codex. Is our subway static scene finished? Polish fixes are in. Okay, good enough for me. Let me see if I can find it now. Let's see, where would this be? There we go. So it's just a simple button to open it in an external browser in case anyone foolishly gets frustrated when they can't find that. Okay, this looks pretty good, I think. Look at the floor effects. It's hard for me to see, but those actually look pretty nicely done. Okay, lighting is good. I'm seeing everything here is just arranged properly. This is going to make such a sick map. I want like a ninja sword game in this. Done. And then we have what I would believe to be... I have no idea what that is. But overall, this is a satisfactory result, I will say. And it will be made better by the inclusion of some ninja enemies. Betting you can't wow me. It seems to respond well to negging, so we'll see what it does there. All right, our 3D printer simulation has been completed, so let's take a peek. I have not looked at a decent one of these in a while, and I mean any one of these in a while. Okay, it's very sterile, but it's good. We have a filament spool there. This looks like the Orange Storm, like the Giga printer, which is just gigantic in real life. We have a nice gantry effect, and something I don't believe I have ever actually seen is it actually seems to have like the belts that would actually be moving the nozzle. The nozzle looks very, very good. Let's take a peek and see how it prints. Oh yeah, look at that movement. Wow. Start drawing the line. Oh yeah. The movement of the nozzle is really good. Timeline scrub through print. Yeah, we'll probably do that because... Okay. Nice. Did the filament spool spin when this was actually happening? That's something I'd like to take a peek at. It's just hard to move around. Okay. Maybe we'll be able to tell from there. Okay, no, it isn't, but that's okay. Let's change. Let's try our circle cylinder. That movement is fantastic. The rails and stuff, that's beautiful. That is a beautiful movement effect. Okay, good. I wanted to see what it did when it finishes, and it just goes back. Overall, this was very pretty. A nice non-dark result for probably one of the few times this didn't have like fog blocking everything. So I like this. So I gave it a 3D drum kit simulation test, or 2.5D photorealistic, which is what we see here. I'm going to say, even though it didn't do it in 3D, this on first glance is the best arranged drum kit I've seen in doing this test ever. So that's very good to see. These effects, these graphics, I really do like this style, I have to say. Now, of course, let's make sure this actually works, and it should be pretty loud. Yeah, it is. All right. Phil Collins test passed with flying colors. It even has sticks? No. Look, did you see that? Wait. That's awesome. I've never seen sticks included. This is a killer result. All right, let's try our autoplay with adjustable tempo. What does it go down to? Without looking, I'm going to tell you what this BPM is. 50. That's all right, close enough. All right. Tight funk. Halftime thunder. That's good. Then finally, swing ride. Can I play along? That was beautiful. This was probably one of the best ones. Even if it wasn't 3D, it doesn't matter. It was significantly more playable. We had drumstick animations. The actual halftime thunder absolutely slapped. That just, I mean, that's like, it's over for drummers. No, I'm kidding. That's not funny. I'm kidding. All right, and we have our subway station now turned into the beat 'em up result. So if we, all right. Oh yeah. We even have like ninja lighting effects. Look at the swords and things. This is very good. That's just, I like this. 6-hit, 12-hit, clean. And I made it arcade style, so wave 2. And it kept the map exactly as it was. Does the brightness slider work? Oh, that's beautiful. I love it. And we're just playing this from within codecs, which I guess, to be honest with you, this is a pretty useful feature for like debugging and things of the sort. So I'm quite pleased with that. There's no like super combo that I notice, but still, we're absolutely macking on these guys to a high degree. This is a total ninja sim. The final thing is a final result where I wrote, make a self-contained plastic brick style Apple Store experience where the brick characters can interact with chat bubbles, simple experiences, etc. Make it look sick and contain it within a single file. It then generated an image based off of this prompt, so I politely informed it that I had actually intended this to be a single file HTML game. So once this concludes, this will conclude our testing and we'll see. All right, we have Brick Orchard, self-contained, no external assets. Let's check it out. All right, I wanted 3D, but I didn't say I wanted 3D, so I am in the wrong. 0 vibe points. Move, chat, and complete tiny Apple Store style experiences. So we need to get the store brief. Okay, so we go to this hover area first. Press E. Nova gives you a glossy plastic badge. Your mission, roam the flagship, talk to brick characters, and complete tiny product experiences. Start shift. All right. So we need to talk to some of these characters. Press E to interact. Ari wants the best night. Oh God, I shouldn't have done this because this is, couldn't you see companies using like just jank like this for training purposes? I'm going to start a SaaS that does this. Well, that's the video, folks. You'll not even see it. Goodbye. No. The best night selfie camera. Okay, so obviously whichever has more stars for the camera, which I would assume is this one because it's wrapped to a different line. Comparison done. Perfect. Back to store. Have fun, Ari. Hope you can take some night selfies. Support bar ticket. A visitor says their battery drains and photos won't sync. Choose the support flow. Buy a new phone, you moron. Update Brick OS. Backup. Brick OS is an interesting. Clean fix. Pixel adds a sticker to your badge. Nice. Our vibe points are doing well. This laptop is wild. Build and create, stack it, take a selfie, or draw something. All right, I like that. Draw on the brick tablet. Make a poster for the demo wall. Put it on the wall. Very cool. All right. The workshop kids need a demo tower. Add 6 plastic bricks. Beat drop. Hit pads to lock an 8-step brick loop. All right, I'm out of here. I could really see stuff like this being used for like employee experience training. That's going to conclude our first look and test of the newly released GPT-5.5 SPUD model from OpenAI. Overall, I'll notice it's good. Of course, this drum kit sim absolutely slapped. Best one I've received. Now that we've had some more tests, I feel comfortable in saying this browser OS was mid. I really found this to be rather disappointing. I mean, Quen 327B had a better GTA game, so because you could actually walk around. There were some glitches, but still, this was not its best work, but everything else absolutely was. The Jerry's apartment, and then when that got turned into an actual like fight game was insane. So you will be able to play that on ultimateplay.com as I will upload it. We had a C++ skate game. The book website was kind of mid. The 3D printer simulation was very clean and aesthetically pleasing. Still, that drum kit sim was just absolutely top tier. The C++, not the C++, the racing game using the sprite sheet was really interesting. And some of the stuff we got there was just like neat. Okay, so now some of the servers have ended and okay, yep. So as we saw right there, it tried. Unfortunately, at the end of this, it was upside down, but the drift effects and stuff were really kind of cool. You can definitely see how this could be turned into a little simple game, just using the image model to coding model pipeline, basically. Then the Jerry's apartment thing was just, oh, that's okay, so it replaced that with the Ninja game, so that's okay. Really, this is going to be more simple, this is going to be a simpler results overview. That sound that's still playing is distracting me, and I need to end it. So really, overall, in terms of feedback on this model, I notice it is producing results that are very good at a significantly faster pace than 5.4 was. So the things they talked about in the introductory post, basically saying that this was faster and more efficient in terms of the amount of tokens used, yes, I absolutely 100% feel that. There are almost like vibes one feels, and this model has them right, I will say. So this is obviously very early. We can't draw a definitive stance based off of just some initial testing, but I will say this bodes very well for this model, and the efficiency in which it seems to produce very, very impressive results is extremely promising and probably my biggest impression or takeaway from this. So with that, that is going to conclude today's video. If you have any questions, please feel free to leave them in the comments. You can go play the Jerry's Apartment beat 'em up on ultimateplay.com, and thanks for watching.